Some things become disturbing because of what they show. Others become disturbing because nobody can explain why they exist. A YouTube channel uploads hundreds of thousands of identical clips to no one. A masked figure hijacks 2 live broadcasts and is never identified. A man eats soup in an empty room while costumed figures stand behind him. 5 mysteries. No resolution. And the first one was hiding in plain sight for years. In March 2013, a YouTube channel called Webdriver Torso began uploading short, 11-second videos, hundreds each day. Each clip was nearly identical. Red and blue rectangles flickered against a white background, accompanied by a sequence of electronic tones. Titles were cryptic strings of numbers and letters. There were no descriptions, no comments, and no hints about who or what was behind it. By 2019, the channel had released over 600,000 of these videos, sometimes more than 400 in a single day. The upload graph showed a relentless, almost mechanical rhythm, broken only by brief pauses. Even after years, new videos would appear, as if the process could not be stopped. The sheer scale and monotony unsettled online communities. On Reddit, users compared Webdriver Torso to Cold War number stations, those anonymous radio broadcasts that once sent coded instructions to spies. Some speculated about hidden data, digital ciphers, or secret government projects. Others wondered if the channel was an experiment in artificial intelligence or a message meant for someone or something unknown. Speculation multiplied, each theory more elaborate than the last. In May 2014, Google stepped forward. A spokesperson described Webdriver Torso as an internal testing tool, designed to measure how YouTube handled different upload conditions. The company even slipped a Rick Astley video into the stream, a nod to the growing crowd of internet detectives. Yet the explanation did little to quiet speculation. The channel's anonymity, the presence of 3 odd outlier videos including the Rickroll, and the sheer persistence of the uploads left many unconvinced. The mystery lingered, as if the machine was speaking in a language only it could understand. On the night of November 22, 1987, television viewers in Chicago witnessed something unexplained. At 9 p.m., WGN-TV's sports segment was suddenly cut short. The screen flickered, then filled with the image of a person in a rubber Max Headroom mask, surrounded by swaying lines and distorted static. For 25 seconds, the figure's voice, warped and garbled, spoke in cryptic phrases and taunted the station and its anchor. Then, just as abruptly, the signal snapped back to normal. Less than 2 minutes later, it happened again. This time, the pirate feed broke into WT, the local PBS station, during an episode of Doctor Who. The same masked figure reappeared, now waving a metal rod and delivering a stranger, more chaotic monologue. The interruption lasted 90 seconds before the station's engineers managed to cut the transmission. Inside both stations, engineers scrambled to regain control. Technicians rushed to their transmitters searching for signs of tampering, but the hijacker had struck from outside the building, overpowering the legitimate signal with a rogue transmitter. In the analog era, this required specialized equipment, precise timing, and a knowledge of broadcast frequencies that few people possessed. The intruder's video was pre-recorded, but the technical feat was anything but amateur. The Federal Communications Commission opened a formal investigation under Docket 87-118. WGN and WTT engineering logs and incident reports. The FBI reviewed the tapes. Yet despite weeks of scrutiny, no suspect was identified. The docket closed with no arrests, no charges, and no clear explanation of how the breach was pulled off. The masked figure's identity remains unknown. For all the resources brought to bear, the Max Headroom hijack stands as a reminder. Sometimes even the most public crimes leave no traceable culprit. The unease lingers, not just because of what was seen, but because of what was never found. A man sits at a plain table, his face streaked with tears as he eats spoonfuls of soup. On either side, 2 silent figures stand, their heads covered by oversized, expressionless masks, their bodies hidden beneath black costumes. Neither moves, except to gently pat the man on the back or rest a padded hand on his shoulder. The room is colorless and empty, lit by a harsh overhead light. There is no sound but the man's muffled sobs and the scrape of his spoon. The camera never cuts. No context is given. There is no introduction, no credits, no explanation. The clip surfaced online in the mid-2000s, first as a file called blankroomsoup.avi. The original upload vanished almost immediately, leaving only mirrored copies and rumors. No one has ever claimed responsibility. The identities of the man and the masked attendants remain unknown. There is no metadata, no traceable location, and nothing to indicate why the video exists at all. The only clues come from the costumes themselves, which some viewers recognized as similar to props used in a performance art group's public shows. But the group's members denied involvement, and no direct link has ever been established. Online forums picked apart every detail. Some insisted the man was being coerced, forced to perform for the camera. Others argued the whole thing was a staged art piece designed to provoke discomfort. A few claimed to spot subtle gestures, an encouraging pat, a slow shake of the head that suggested compassion or perhaps complicity. Theories multiplied, fueled by the lack of evidence. Was this a hoax, a warning, or something worse? Each new upload only deepened the uncertainty. No police report, no credible news investigation, no official statement has ever emerged. The video's silence is absolute. In the absence of facts, the internet filled the void with speculation. Years later, the masked figures still haunt message boards, and the man's quiet distress continues to unsettle anyone who stumbles across the footage. The true story behind Blank Room Soup remains just out of reach: an empty room, a camera, and a question no one can answer. A single Facebook post, written late at night, set off a chain reaction across dozens of online communities. The post claimed that an emergency broadcast had interrupted every radio station along a stretch of highway. An automated voice, flat and mechanical, warning listeners to stay in their vehicles. The poster, whose name was never widely confirmed, described hearing the message while driving alone, then finding others in the comments who insisted they had experienced the same thing in different states, sometimes at the same hour. Screenshots of the post began circulating almost immediately, sparking threads on Reddit, Twitter, and amateur radio forums. People searched for audio clips, Federal Communications Commission bulletins, anything that might prove the event had really happened. But no verified recording ever surfaced. Within hours, radio hobbyists and emergency alert enthusiasts began combing through the emergency alert system logs, hoping to find a matching broadcast. The emergency alert system, called EAS, is designed to override local programming in the event of a disaster, but every official archive for the date in question came up empty. No station engineers reported a system-wide activation. The Federal Communications Commission's public incident database showed no complaints or technical anomalies. Still, the story spread, each retelling slightly different, each screenshot a little blurrier than the last. Some online investigators tried to reconstruct what might have happened. They pointed out that a rogue transmitter could, in theory, hijack a single station signal within a small area. A nationwide override would require a feat bordering on impossible. It would need simultaneous infiltration of dozens of independent systems. Others noticed that the audio, when it did appear, matched the cadence of common text-to-speech software, not the distinctive voice used for real EAS alerts. A few speculated about software glitches or a coordinated prank, while others wondered if mass suggestion had played a role. With no logs, no verifiable audio, and no official explanation, the story became a kind of digital ghost, an event that might have happened everywhere, or nowhere at all. Yet the absence of evidence only deepened the mystery. If nothing was recorded, how did so many people remember hearing it? On West 400 South in Salt Lake City, a neon green sign for Funtime Kids Care glowed above a locked door. Google Street View showed it unchanged from 2008 onward. Sign bright, windows dark, playground tarp never shifting. No children were ever seen, and no parents were ever seen dropping off or picking up. On paper, it was a daycare. In practice, no one could prove it had ever operated, leaving its status unproven. A Reddit post in January 2015 brought the building into focus. Locals reported the doors always locked. Searches of business registries turned up nothing. No active childcare license. No filings for Funtime Kids Care. The only trace was a dissolved LLC at a different address, closed 3 years earlier. The county listed the building as a generic office. Care Holdings LLC, the owner, was registered in Delaware, a state favored for anonymous shell companies. Theories multiplied. Some suspected a front business, others saw only neglect. The website, once live, offered no staff photos or contact number. Property taxes were paid, but every attempt to reach an owner failed. Then a user named Deathship posted a warning advising people to stop looking into the place. A warning that seemed to silence the thread. The original post vanished. Google Street View soon blurred the building. No police report, no news coverage, no official record. Years later, the sign still glows, the doors remain locked, and the warning lingers, leaving unanswered questions and a mystery that stands untouched.
Online, nothing truly disappears. Each unresolved upload, every unanswered broadcast, becomes part of a digital afterlife, open to anyone, forever. The internet keeps our mysteries alive, and sometimes, what is most unsettling is knowing we can always return. Some questions never get quieter. They just wait for us in the dark.